The Antiques Roadshow has been a mainstay of British television, airing continuously for over 40 years since it was first broadcast in 1979. In this Halloween special, we take a look at the top 5 weirdest and creepiest finds ever. Number 5. In 2023, fans of the Antiques Roadshow were left gobsmacked after a creepy-looking bird statue was valued at a 6-figure price. The ornament, playfully named Ernie by its owner and their daughter, featured a bizarre head that was detached from the rest of its body. Ernie was so ugly the daughter admitted she was terrified and had nightmares about it as a child. Expert Stephen Moore agreed that while the ornament was very collectible, it also had a face only a mother could love. The eccentric sculpture was crafted by the famous Martin brothers, who manufactured pottery in London in the late 1800s and early 1900s. He also noted that the top and bottom part of the bird didn't seem to match, and it could fetch up to a whopping £70,000 if the missing parts were located. The head alone was valued for £4,000. Viewers were shocked at the outcome, with one commenting on social media, "Who in their right mind would spend £70,000 on a bit of pottery?" Many branded the sculpture as ugly, with one commenting, "Haunted bird head. Kill it with fire." With another adding, "What a horrible-looking ornament Ernie is." We quite agree, and certainly wouldn't want to wake up in the middle of the night to see Ernie looking down on us. Number 4. What Halloween special would be complete without a creepy doll? Yes, this scary-looking dolly was presented on the show after it had belonged to the owner's family for more than 50 years. Revealing more on its history, the guest said it had been bought from an auction house in the early 70s. She said, "I've always loved him. I think he's beautiful, and I think, if you look at him, I think he's smiling." Asking about the price their mother had paid at the auction, one sibling revealed although she didn't know the exact figure, she knew it was somewhere in the hundreds. Then, giving a verdict that left viewers in shock, the expert said the item was likely to have been made more than 300 years ago, in 1715. They explained, "I must admit this is the most interesting and unusual doll I've seen in 36 years of doing Antiques Roadshow, but it's not a doll. I think his body shows he's not a doll, and I'm going to show you why. Because this is a very different form of body. It's not a doll at all, it's an effigy body. I believe it's a funeral effigy." Yikes. The expert continued, "If we can prove this is correct and it is 1715, I think we should put a price tag of up to £20,000 on it. It's historical. Yes, and very, very creepy." The expert went on to add, "The 3-year-old son that died of the Duke of Buckingham was the first Marquis of Normandy, and he died in 1715. So, in those days, the monarchy and aristocracy would make wooden and wax effigies to put on the funeral cask going to the funeral." She added, "Back in those days, it was a belief that people could be in touch with their ancestors through the effigies, and they would dress them in elaborate clothing. The glass eyes, a lot of people would say wouldn't be made until later. But in fact in Venice, as way back as 1400 they were making glass eyes. Oh dear, we think those might be the type of eyes that follow you everywhere you go." Number 3. In 2021, the BBC show was embroiled in controversy when specialist evaluator Mark Allam refused to value a strange item. Mark was perplexed by a carved figure that would not look out of place in a Stanley Kubrick film, and he even likened the object to E.T. Explaining how he came across the bizarre, alien-looking object, the guest revealed that they had dug it up from an old coal shed while excavating his property in 2014. Sharing his thoughts on the item, Mark said, "This is the strangest, most enigmatic little object I've seen for a long time." Elaborating on how it was found, the guest said, "We were excavating out the back of our property, and when the builders got close to the house, they uncovered what we think is an old coal shed. We found what looked like just a strangely shaped pebble just sitting in the rubble. We picked it up and hey presto, this strange thing, creature." Expert Mark later said he was unable to accurately value the item he deemed grotesque, because he could not be sure what it actually was. The word voodoo springs to mind. Number 2. In 2023, Antiques Roadshow viewers felt sick after finding out how much famous human hair was worth. On the show, which was hosted at the Eden Project in Cornwall, One of the items being appraised was a bizarre collection of hair clippings from well-known poets. Envelopes containing human hair from poets such as William Wordsworth and Samuel Taylor Coleridge were examined by Justin Croft, who found multiple hair samples, including one which must have been taken from a person's deathbed. The expert explained that at one time, people used to collect locks of hair from their loved ones as the tresses were long-lasted and easily incorporated into items such as jewelry as keepsakes. Specialist Justin said he was delighted to have discovered the hairs from Samuel, Robert and William, who died in 1834, 1843 and 1850 respectively. The guest explained how he was a descendant of one of the poets, adding, "They were handed down by my father, grandfather and so on. The hair was taken if a couple was going to be parted, as a keepsake." Carefully unfolding the envelopes and inspecting the hair, Justin said, "Think about that being cut from the poet's hair on his deathbed. It's incredibly moving, isn't it? If we want to talk value with the picture, and with the locks of hair, I think without a shadow of a doubt, we're looking at £30,000 to £40,000. However, viewers of the program were not impressed, with one saying, "Upwards of £40,000 for some clippings of dead people's hair from the 19th century sounds crazy, regardless of how famous they were," with another adding, "This hair stuff is a bit off kilter." Someone else said poking through the samples of hair which were well over a century old made them feel sick. Our favorite comment though was from someone who simply wrote, "If I'm dying and you start cutting my hair, you are going with me." Number 1. In 2019, expert John Foster left one guest speechless when he made his valuation of a set of 18th century false teeth. The expert remarked, "I've been doing the Roadshow for over 10 years now, and this is the one thing I've always wanted to see." Holding the set of spring-bound false teeth in his hands, he joked, "I know you're going to think I'm weird, but why have you got them?" The guest explained that his dad bought a box of junk at a car boot fair. He said, he paid a few pounds and they were at the bottom of the box, adding, "We know that one plate is gold, the springs are gold, and the pins that hold the teeth in are gold." The expert said, "Now you'd be pretty wealthy if you had a set of teeth like this. Like you say, they are in gold, and the rare thing about them is that they are porcelain teeth." He continued, "The history of anything like this is fascinating, because with teeth during the 18th century, the wealthy obviously had vast amounts of sugar, and generally their teeth were rotten, their breath stank, and they would lose their teeth. They needed something to sort them out. Surgeons tried everything from implanting teeth into chickens' heads to see if it would take. You would pull out your tooth if you were poor, and sell it instantaneously, and they would try and implant it. None of that really worked. So when they came up with a set of teeth like this, it was the obvious solution. These are made of porcelain on a gold background, but the earlier ones from the Napoleonic Wars. People actually went around after the Battle of Waterloo, picked up the teeth from all the bodies and corpses, pulled them out and then sold them to make denture sets like this. So English people were actually going around with French teeth in their mouths." As the people on the show gathered around giggling in disgust, the expert added, "I know it is disgusting and horrible, but it's a fascinating history." Estimating the age of the teeth between 1845 and 1855, a very close guess to the actual age, which was 1850 and 1860, he remarked, "The fact that they're porcelain, I love. They are incredibly rare. The fact that they are gold, the fact that they are porcelain, I'd say £2,000 to £2,500. This is a rare survivor." The guest, needless to say, was shocked at the valuation, or should we say, gobsmacked. Subscribe to Blinkerbytes for more fun facts, feel-good stories, antiques, animals and more.